pretend! Let's pretend! Let's pretend we score the goal!
Hi everybody and welcome to episode 20 of the Coach Killers podcast, Australia's #1 podcast, and I can't believe we're at episode 20. I'm here with Stefan. How's everything going?
Mate, look how much I've aged since episode 1.
This is a podcast, mate. We can't see how much you've aged,
No.
but...
No, it's been great, mate. I can't believe it's episode 20.
Yeah, the big 2-0.
Yeah, and the A League's upon us as well.
Finally.
Finally,
After months
it's
and
back.
months and months of waiting and watching friendlies and watching the FFA Cup
Yeah.
and watching Adelaide fail
The
in
real
the final.
deal is here. Oh!
Just a little, that's just a little preview.
Yes.
But, episode 20, big episode. That means there's big news, a big giveaway coming.
Yes, we will announce the details of our massive giveaway at the end of this episode. So,
So
tune
stay
in
tuned
and
for that.
stick around.
We're going to be going through all the teams
Yeah.
pretty much and seeing who they've signed and where they're at and what we
think
will
about
eventually
it. Yeah.
give you our top 10s.
Correct, yeah, we will.
And we'll be looking through that. We'll be looking at that throughout the season and seeing who's right and who's wrong because
Yes.
our top 10s are completely different.
Yes, completely.
We don't have a coach killer this week or a game of the week, which is something a bit different. There was not really any quality
No.
games.
No, not really. Not from the internationals.
well,
Yeah.
Spain and England played, but who cares?
Yeah. Just for the quick mention as well, Australia beating Kuwait this morning 4-0.
Great result.
Graham Arnold getting his
result for
first
Graham
win.
Arnold,
Yeah, and Mobile as well and Deng playing really well, which was good to see.
Definitely. Well, let's start off this episode with your favourite segment, Fan Talk.
When my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut!
That's right, Fan Talk, my favourite part of the show,
Yes,
Nick.
it's
I
upon
love
us
it.
again.
It's upon us. Let's kick it off. Our first question comes from Marky Sheriff.
Marky Sheriff. yeah.
Marky Sheriff, which teams are in your ideal Australian second division?
Ooh, tough
question.
there.
For me, it's probably South Melbourne and Marconi Stallions from New South Wales.
South Melbourne.
Yeah.
They didn't even go far in the cup. Where's Bentley Greens? Where's your...
Yeah, you could say that.
where's your Broadmeadows Magic?
Yeah.
Where's your Preston Lions?
Preston Lions, here he goes, Preston Lions.
But yeah, Marconi Stallions, good.
Big club.
Apia as well.
Yeah, Apia probably. They've all got the money to compete in the second division. And hopefully we hope to see that one day, by the way, as well.
Yeah, well, if there's relegation and, promotion...
that would make it way better.
I think it'll be a lot more competitive, but we're still a bit behind
I agree.
in that. The game's got to grow a bit more here.
Yep.
But I'd say probably Bentley Greens, just because they've pushed it so far.
No, I'm happy to stick with South Melbourne and Marconi for me.
Okay, nice.
So we've got 3 teams to go.
What's our next question?
Liam_Priv26. He says, do you think that Usain Bolt will get a contract with Central Coast Mariners? And what would you rate his performance on his last game? Well, we know he scored 2 goals.
Yeah, he's got
The
a
first
brace.
one was good, but the second one was just a run-in.
It was a tap-in, yeah.
Yeah.
But, hey, you got to still put him away, mate,
You can't miss from a centimetre out of the goal, so directly in front with
well,
no keeper.
He had to get in that position.
I actually don't know. What do you reckon? Do you reckon that he'll
I
get
think
a
they
contract?
have to. They have to. Well, they're trying to get the A League to pay for part of it, $1 million worth of it. He's not really a marquee player, though, because he's never played professional football.
That's right, and he's not even that good, to be honest. He's not a good player. You cannot say he's a good... I mean, if you watched his positioning halfway through the game, I don't know what the hell he was doing.
He's played football, but never at the professional level, so you got to cut him some slack.
I will cut him some slack, but I'm saying if they
I
sign
think
him...
he shows a bit of talent.
Yeah, look, if they sign him...
He's got the athleticism
this is
to
the
do
thing.
something.
Yeah, but this is the thing. If they sign him, there will either be a clause in his contract saying he has to play X amount of games, right, number one, or if that doesn't happen, there's a nice warm spot on the bench for him, I'm sure.
Mate, he's going to put bums in seats, and the Mariners need that.
They do need that. I think they should sign him.
I think they should. They should give him a contract.
We'll see what
Especially,
happens.
He played really well in the last game. I would love to see how he goes in actual competitive, A
for
League
points. Let's
football.
see. Well, we'll see.
But yeah, I'm all for Usain Bolt. I like him.
Me too.
Good. At least we agree on that. And that's been our fan talk questions for this week. So thank you very much for your questions,
thanks,
as
everyone.
always. And, look out for it during the week on Instagram.
Yes.
Get your questions in. We'll give you a shout-out like, we did with Marky and Liam there.
Yes, that's right. Keep them coming, people.
Keep them coming. And wait for this. Can you hear it, Stefan? Are you ready?
I'm ready. I can hear it.
I said, are you ready? Yes, it's time for the A League preview.
Can't you hear the thunder? You better run, you better take cover.
That's right, people. It's time for our A-League preview. So firstly, let's kick it off with Adelaide United.
Yes, Adelaide. Not big fans of Adelaide.
No, we're not. And would you like to explain why?
Well, Adelaide United is the only A-League team who I believe, don't care about their fans or don't really care about promoting themselves and
Now, this
feel
is
like
serious.
they're too big for their boots.
Now, this is serious, Nick. Tell our listeners what has happened.
It is. Well, Adelaide United is the only club to really have any issue with sending their players on our podcast, whereas, 6 other A-League teams have had no issue in the past.
That's right, yeah.
I wonder what it is. I think they just think they're too big for their boots and they're going to finish last this season.
Oh, no, Nick, don't say that. No,
So
no.
we're off them. They have, however, made a couple good signings.
Yeah, they've got Michael Jacobson from Melbourne City, Craig Goodwin as well. He came from Sparta Rotterdam.
He's their only decent player.
And Ken Islo as well. You've got
Yeah.
Ken Islo coming in from the Singaporean league.
Yep, that's right. And Mirko Boland, I should say.
Yeah. Look, we'll see what can happen with them. They've lost a couple of good players like Tarek Elrich. He's a good player. Ben Garuccio as well, a young talent, went to the Scottish League with Hearts this season.
Yep.
So he's on to bigger and better things, but still a big loss for their Adelaide United.
What do you think of their lineup, Stefan?
Look, I think they have to build on it. Pretty much. It's going to be a building season for them. I don't know about the quality of the new imports in the A-League. I don't know if they'll be able to adjust quick enough to the style of our game. Like I said, it's all going to come down to the international talent they've brought in, like Goodwin, Islo, because at the end of the day, they're the only real standout players. They don't really have a lot of quality when going forward on the flanks.
Well, Goodwin and Halloran, they look terrific, to be on their on either flank. Really.
Yeah, so that's going to help that problem
and help their attack. But how do you think they'll go against Sydney in their first game?
I can only see Sydney winning, to be honest. Yeah, I'll be honest.
Agree.
I think it'll be Sydney FC that'll beat them.
If Adelaide don't win a game for the season, I won't be happy. I'll be happy.
No, not after that. But
anyway, let's move on. Enough of the what can we call them? What's their nickname?
We won't call them the Honey Dippers or something like that. The Honey Dippers. What would we call them?
Let's call them the skid marks.
No.
So our next team, Brisbane Roar.
Yes, the mighty Brisbane Roar. And this is crazy. If you ever look at who they've brought in and who they've sent out, just have a listen to this, Nick. You're going to fall off your chair. So coming into the club is Adam Taggart from Perth Glory, Stefan Mork from the Dutch League, I believe, and he used to play for Melbourne City, Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Drum
roll for the next one.
Stefan Negro. They've got...
Did they sign you, mate?
No,
Did
not
they
me.
sign you?
It's my name.
Are you starting?
No.
Oh.
They signed Stefan Negro from Melbourne Victory.
Former Melbourne Victory player,
Yep.
yeah. Also, bearer of your name.
That's right. That's my namesake. And Alex Lopez they signed as well from Sporting Gijon, who played in La Liga. Yeah, so that was a last-minute signing done last week. And have a listen.
Good.
So the players going out as well is ridiculous, like Corey Gamera, Jade North, Massimo Macaroni, Corey Brown, Ben Calfella, Michael Theoklitos, and Ivan Franjic going out the door.
That's some heavy losses.
That's heavy losses there, mate.
They play Central Coast Mariners at home in their first game, so
I think they're up for a good game against the Central Coast. I mean, their season last year was pretty average, as we all know.
Yeah, that's right. Aloisi has done his best, in getting the transfer work done early, and getting the team to gel. And, do you think they'll be better off as a result?
I think signing Adam Taggart is very good for their attack. And he has plenty to play for because he's a potential Socceroo coming up. So I think, that's a good acquisition for him.
The team looks, looks settled and
re-energised in a way.
That's right. In
Yeah.
a lot of areas, it looks very, very improved. But there's some big losses there.
Yes, definitely.
But speaking of their first game against the Central Coast Mariners, let's have a look.
Yes, let's have a look at them. So,
What are their ins?
ridiculous ins. We've got Jack Clisby and Jonathan Astropometis. Oh, I can't even say it. Do you want to have a go?
Astropometis.
Aspropometis.
Yeah.
Aspropometis.
Yeah, both from
They're
Western
both
Sydney
from the
Wanderers.
Western Sydney Wanderers.
Yeah. Corey Gramero from Brisbane Roar. So he
Yeah.
plays his
former
old
club,
team,
yeah.
in his first match. Matt Simon from Sydney FC.
Yeah.
Who else? We got Tommy Orr coming in, Ross McCormick from Aston Villa.
Yeah,
That's a
who we
big one.
saw here with Melbourne City.
Yeah,
for a short stint. You've also got Khalifa Cisse. He's a bit of an unknown from BEC. And we've got Aidan O'Neill from Burnley on loan. So, strength. There's definitely some strength there.
And maybe Usain Bolt.
And maybe Usain Bolt. That's right. That could be another X factor in the mix there.
Well, I think they've put out a statement in these signings,
And have a look at their outs before you go on. Have a look at their outs. So Josh Rose retired, as we know.
Yeah.
He was a good Central Coast player. And then Danny De Silva, the young talent who spent some time at AS Roma, they've loaned him out to Sydney FC. Right?
Ooh,
However,
okay.
loaning him out to the rival doesn't seem good, but I think they've got some great transfers in, to be honest.
What do you think they can do this season, with maybe even, as we said, Bolt coming in? Does that improve them? Does that, push them title contenders? What does it do?
Look, I think Mike Mulvey is a good manager. Firstly, I want to say credit to him. He's a good manager, I think. But, they've had no finals there for 4 seasons now. They haven't been in the final series. I think the honest opinion of mine is that Tommy Orr and Ross McCormack are the 2 best signings they've made. They're proven winners. They're proven goal scorers. They're going to cause problems for a lot of teams.
Well, signing those 2 players has really changed the thinking of the club,
Yeah, I agree.
And the spending, really.
Yeah, the spending's been great from them, They're obviously looking to get back up the ladder, which is great, and I want to see this team. I'm a bit intrigued that they, to me, seem like someone that can win it.
I feel like this will end their 4-year finals.
Yeah, I agree.
And their fans really should be excited.
Yeah,
and
even with Bolt. We'll see if he comes in.
That's just the bonus. And
Yeah.
if he performs well, that's they'll be flying.
Yeah, I agree.
They'll be in the top 3.
Yeah.
But let's move on to talk about Melbourne City.
Melbourne City. I mean, ridiculous amount of talent coming through the door. We've got Michael O'Halloran from Rangers coming in. You got Riley McGree, the bloke from Newcastle Jets who scored that awesome, scorpion kick.
Yeah, went to the Puskás Award.
That's it, yeah. And he was saying something like that he was going to touch Zinedine Zidane's head because he was behind it, but he didn't do it during the Puskás ceremony.
Anthony Caceres as well.
Yeah, from Man City on loan.
That's huge.
He's spent time in the A League as well, as we all know. You got Florin Berenguer from Soch in League One, the Frenchman, so he's experienced.
Richard Delat from Aston Villa on loan, and Curtis Good from Newcastle.
Yeah.
Huge.
And Birigidi coming in to fill the goalkeeper role as well,
Nice.
Mark Birigidi. So very solid transfers.
Very, very big
But have
transfers.
a look at who they've let go, Nick.
Well, Daniel Azani has gone on loan to Man City, and then they've loaned him out to Celtic.
And we know that current reports are he's doing okay, but not as well as first thought.
Mm-hmm.
Brendan Rodgers, I saw an article out. Brendan Rodgers said that he's not ready to play in the first team. In the first team, so that's a big statement coming from a guy that.
Do you think he went there too early?
I think touching on this issue, I think he did slightly.
He should have had another this season.
I think a season helping
winning the league. Right, if he stayed, I believe they would have, been clear favourite to win the league.
Yeah, this season.
And imagine having that experience going abroad, winning your league and knowing what it takes to win a league, right? Oh, it's not the same level as the European leagues. But,
I agree. I think he could have benefited
just that winning
a lot.
mentality,
And now apparently the reports coming out is that he's struggling just a little bit. I don't know whether it's to do with the style of play that they play in Scotland or Brendan Rodgers, what he wants to use him for.
He's still young.
I know he's young, but
himself his game.
We need this guy for the Socceroos. Like, we can't stress this enough. And if he ends up getting loaned back out here, I don't think that's a positive move.
I think he needs to come back. Like I said, he needs to. I don't know. He needs to win the A League, win something. Know what it feels like to win, and have that mentality, and with that comes experience, and you know what I mean. Then you're not going to a foreign league with all these players who have won things in their former clubs, and you know what I mean. And it makes you want to be better, and like he's got to find himself as a player as well, really. But they've also lost Dean Buzanis.
Yeah, the goalkeeper. He's gone to pursue a career on loan to PEZ Zwolle, the Dutch team.
Yeah.
So good on to him after having a great season last year. He's a solid goalkeeper.
Do you think they can win the A League?
You'll find out later my tips. I think they can win the A League this season.
Yeah, well, as we said, their key signings of Richie Delat is huge.
Yeah,
Delat gives
machine.
them the safety in the midfield, and gives them experienced head, really.
Yeah, he's a great defender as well, so really, really good, solid player, in all honesty. Very experienced campaigners they've signed on, so we'll see what happens.
An influx of experienced campaigners, right?
Yeah, it's packed. Like, they've got all this talent coming through the door. Players that have played at the top.
I agree with you. I think, City will be a force to be reckoned with this season.
Yeah. I think we can say that safely, to be honest.
With Berigidi, Delat, Griffiths, will strengthen, an already formidable spine, really.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It's unbelievable.
I think it's Bruno Fornaroli as well up top. Oh, my God,
that guy's a machine. He's one of my favourite players for the A-League, in the history of the A-League.
So, exciting times for Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne City fans,
and
they're pumped.
More importantly, who do they play first up?
Oh,
the arch rival.
The arch rival, the mighty Melbourne Victory.
That's right.
The derby is on this Saturday night, people.
Yeah, we'll talk about. That's going to be a great night of football.
We'll talk about that a bit later on. But now, Melbourne Victory.
Yes, let's see. Who have they brought in, Stefan?
So coming into Melbourne Victory, some experienced campaigners and some world-class talent. You've got Corey Brown from the Brisbane Roar.
Yeah.
You've got George Niedermeyer from SC Freiburg from the Bundesliga.
Nick Ansel.
A seasoned campaigner. And obviously the big one. Go, Nick. This is your one.
Mr. Keisuke Honda.
Keisuke Honda coming to the A-League playing for Victory.
Another huge signing, because they lost their talisman, but they got in Ola Toivonen.
Yeah, who's a mad talisman. Huge. He is an absolute machine, mate.
And Raul Benea as well.
Yep, on loan from Granada.
Who's, played in the La Liga, played against Messi, Ronaldo.
Played against the best.
And, has that experience. But, as I said, they lost their talisman in Besat Berisha.
Yeah, it's
He's going to score their 20 goals a season now.
I think...
Do you think Toivonen can,
My only question is, look, I mean, they got rid of Berisha, Reece Williams, who was big for them at the back, and Leroy George as well, who we know helped them win the A-League pretty much last season. I mean, I don't know if they can defend their title. Personally, for me, I think they'll be up there, but I don't think they'll win it.
But can Toivonen fill the Berisha role?
Well, they're two different players. Bessart was good because he could always finish. He wasn't the speediest. Toivonen's more like a Dzeko. You expect him to hold the ball up and dish out the passes wide everywhere.
I think he's going to have a huge season and tear the A-League apart.
You reckon Toivonen will
top goal scorer.
Really?
I'm calling that now.
You're calling that now? Wow, okay.
I know you think it will be Fornaroli, but, this game, this derby is going to be huge.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you think they can defend their title?
No.
You say they can't, right? I think they will.
You think they will? You think they'll go back to back?
Oh, well, those signings, just, Keisuke Honda, even though, what did he say in his press conference? He
said that he's not magic. He's not magic. He was losing it. He's like, I'm not the magic man. He's like, I don't have any magic. I will look to do my best. The only question mark...
Is he past it? Is that why?
Firstly, look, I'm going to be critical. I think he is past it, firstly. And secondly, he's a manager of Cambodia. He's managing a national team. How can you manage a national team and play at the same time and be fully focused?
Because he's Keisuke Honda, mate. He can do that, wear Mizuno products and do it all, mate. Yeah. The bloke hasn't kicked the ball yet for Victory.
Yeah.
He's not with any importance anyway.
Yeah.
So
we'll judge him Saturday night in the derby.
He played overseas in Europe. He knows what it takes. The A-League's not going to be a big challenge for him.
No, but
he's going to tear it apart. Let's be honest.
I hope you're right. Nick, just for the viewers' sake.
But yeah, so, losing a lot of their established stars might be the best thing because, Kevin Muscat has replaced them with these big-name players.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was great, to be honest. these players have top European pedigree, which is at the end of the day going to come to the front when they play in the A League, because as we know, the A League's not up to the European standard yet.
And
so,
just to finish it off, they're going to be very hard to beat, right?
Yeah.
Just as long as everything clicks, and
That's
they play
right.
well together.
That's right. I agree. Now it's time to preview the runners-up of last season, the mighty Newcastle Jets, Nick.
Yes. So who have they brought in, Stefan?
Matthew Riddington from Wellington Phoenix. They've also brought in Jair Eduardo Brito da Silva from Yambi
That's
and
a tongue
Funde.
twister?
Yeah, that is. He might be a very
Yeah.
freakish player. Who knows?
And Mitch Austin.
Mitch Austin as well.
But who have they lost?
They've lost a few good players like Daniel Alessi, Ivan Nichevsky, and of course they lost Riley McGree, the scorpion kick bloke.
That's why everyone's
Mr.
gonna hope for.
Puskas. They lost him as well, so it's a big loss.
Do you think they can repeat their performance of last season, Stefan?
Look, just because they haven't brought in a lot of talent, to be honest. When you stack up against the bigger teams, look who the bigger teams have brought in. They've got European campaigners coming in. These guys haven't really brought in anyone. I don't know if they're going to be that good to improve on last season's performances. So
They did go on a fairy tale run last season.
That's right, and I think it'll stay a fairy tale. I don't think they'll improve.
Well, they've kept the same squad.
Yeah, you
but
can't.
I don't know. I don't know if it's enough.
I don't
other
think it
teams
is.
have strengthened.
Yeah, they've strengthened massively.
But we'll see. No Roy O'Donovan for the first 8 rounds as well.
Yeah, that's a big loss for them. It's a very big loss.
Huge loss. They'll need someone to step up and provide goals as well.
Yeah, so I don't know where that's going to come from either, to be honest.
But yeah, I don't know. Let's move on to Perth Glory.
Yes, Perth Glory. Look at my sunburn, Nick.
Just because they're in Perth?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Popovich's crew, mate. The
yes,
big pop.
they brought in Popovic.
Yeah.
That's a big in.
Big in.
Brought in our friend Ivan Franic.
Yes, who we've interviewed.
Podcast.
Yep, Ivan Franic.
Tomislav Mrksa.
Yeah, they've brought him in. Well spoken, Nick, by the way.
Brandon Santaleb. That's a big signing.
Yeah, he's a gun, mate.
From Western Sydney Wanderers.
He's a goal poacher.
Matthew Sporanovic as well.
Yeah.
Big signing. Jason Davidson.
Yeah, from Rijeka in Croatia.
Yeah.
They were flying, mate, so he's a good utility player. He's very good.
And Chris Ikonmidis as well.
From Lazio, the scums.
Yes, Chris Ikonmidis. He's a funny one. He's at Lazio and now he's back in the A League. What do you make of that?
Look, maybe I think he's a good player from what I've heard, from what people have told me. But
I think there's a lot better youngsters out there, like Anthony Carter.
Yeah.
At Benfica, he's huge, man.
Yeah, Anthony Carter's doing well, let's be honest. That's on a separate note, though.
Yeah. He's I think, up there with the Arzanis and like that. Too bad he's injured at the moment. But, I don't know. What do you make? Is that a backwards move for Ikonmidis?
I don't think it's a backwards move because players have come here and then re-energised their careers. I think he needs game time, which he wasn't getting at Lazio.
Well, is he good enough?
Well, I guess we'll see. I think he's got talent for
When
the
we
A-League.
spoke to Carl Valeri, when he was at Inter, he said it himself. When he went there, Carl Valeri's Carl Valeri. He's a superstar here, right?
Yeah.
He said it himself. When he
The-
went there, he saw how far behind he was compared. He was doing things that they were doing when they were 10 years old.
Yeah, that's
is what
right.
he said,
Yeah.
right? From memory.
Yeah, that's correct, Nick. It's a different type of football over there.
So seeing these young players come back,
Look,
I don't know.
I guess
It irks me to see it because it's like, why'd you go there in the first place?
to come back and play. Look,
That's
I
right.
understand it, but it's great that we've got the A League, firstly, number one. And secondly, it's great that players can come back here now because this wasn't a thing that could happen. This guy's still got a chance to make it again.
Yep.
He's got a chance to go back to Europe again. He did well with his stint down here earlier on in last season when he came here for the
that's
Western
right.
City.
They loaned him back to the A League. It's like,
He needed game time, I
what's
think.
the point? Just stay and play in the A League from the beginning. Why go into Lazio for?
Well, look, he gave it a go, and it probably didn't work out for him for his development yet. But look, he's still young. He's still got talent.
That's why I'm saying a player like Anthony Carter is our future. He's doing really well.
I think Iconomidis has got something to offer. I think if he can re-energise this season, I reckon he'll find something.
He'll just be another A League footnote.
No.
But anyway, let's talk about Perth.
Yes.
They've also lost Adam Taggart and Joe Knowles.
Yeah, that's
as well.
right. Two great players.
but they got Tony Popovich, which is huge.
Yeah,
It's
Tony
huge,
Popovich.
You know, what do you think he can do for Perth's season this year?
I think he'll turn it around. They'll make finals 100%. That I'll tell you from the get-go, because Popper is one of the best in the land. You know.
Well, mate, after years of underachievement under Kenny Lowe, I say a new era has dawned in the West, mate.
Yeah, I agree. There is a new era that has dawned in the West, and all hail King Popovich, mate.
Yes, that's right. All hail Popovich. You know, he's built, on defence and discipline, and he should make Perth Glory into a title contender.
I agree.
They kick off their A-League season against Western Sydney.
Yeah,
Wanderers.
the Wanderers, which is Popper's old mob.
Yeah, so let's review the Wanderers and see how they'll stack up.
Yeah, let's go. WSW, Western Sydney Wanderers.
Yes.
Let's see.
Who have they brought in?
Well, they've brought in Nick Fitzgerald, Bruce Kamau, Royan Toranjic, from Melbourne City.
Yeah. So they've just pillaged them.
Yeah, they've destroyed Melbourne City's young players. They've brought them over.
Tariq Ellich as well.
Yeah, Tariq Elrich, Patrick Ziegler. A lot of European experience there they've brought in. And they've also brought in Alexander Boyd-Shohan.
Yep, good pronunciation.
I tried my best.
From EC Victoria.
Yep, so solid European form there as well.
And they've lost Jack Clisby, Michael Thwaite, Brenton Santaleb, and Stephen Lustica.
Yeah, they've lost a few players.
Michael Thwaite, did he retire? What happened to Michael Thwaite?
I'm not sure at the moment. I don't think he ever publicly announced he retired.
I think he's doing his one-on-one training courses and things these days.
Yeah, so he probably is retired.
Probably a bit busy.
Yeah.
Giving seminars and things like that at schools, which is good work for him.
Yeah, but at least, I mean, back on Western Sydney, Marcus Babbel is the coach there. Now, we all know who Marcus Babbel is, right?
Yeah.
Can he bring, the winning mentality to the Western Sydney Wanderers that he achieved throughout his whole career,
Well, losing Popovich obviously isn't great for the Wanderers, right?
That's right. But Marcus Babbel, this is an unknown...
Well,
Let's see.
He could be quality if he can get them to galvanise and, play as a team and play for each other, play for the shirt. The Wanderers have always, been there, been on the cusp, I think this is the season, that can possibly do something.
Yeah, I think Babbel's influence, obviously he spent time at Liverpool, we all know. He was a good player. But I think with his influence and his mentality into this team, I think they can definitely make the finals. That's a certainty. Whether they can challenge to win it, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, his experience as playing for Liverpool,
it's crazy.
will help his coaching style, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And it really all depends on, the new attacking players that they got and whether, they can provide the missing link in the final third, which is what the Wanderers were missing last season.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Hopefully they can turn it around.
Time to talk about the other team in Sydney.
Oh, no.
Sydney FC. Boom. The Blues.
The Sky Blues, Sydney FC.
They've flown under the radar pretty hard.
Yeah.
They've just, come around and they've ended up signing, Daniel Da Silva.
Yep. Good talent.
From the Mariners.
Yep.
Sorry, I should say. Adam Lafronde.
Yeah.
Siem De Jong as well.
Yeah. What about Van der Linden as well from AZ Akma?
Yeah, some quality signings.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely four good players.
Looking at this now, it scares me a little bit.
Yeah. They do look good.
They've lost Matt Simon, Luke Wiltshire, David Carney, and Bobo. Yeah,
they've lost Bobo as well. He's been great for them. Stevie Corica's first ever job as a manager now as well. Yep. He's taken the Sydney FC by the horns now with no
Graham
Arnold.
Arnold's gone,
That's right.
So he's gone to the
Arnie's gone
job.
to the national team. So, I don't know. Do you think Stevie Corica's ready, firstly, to coach? And secondly, do you think they can do anything under it?
Well, I think he shapes as a safe pair of hands and has done some, impeccable work in the transfer market. Lafrange coming in.
And De Jong as well.
Which could take the A League by storm, really. While De Silva is also proven quality.
Danny De Silva is another young Australian that is ready to be a Socceroo.
I think Sydney will be right up there again.
You think Sydney will be challenging?
As always,
yeah. Okay.
Just after looking at that, I think I might need to change my top 10 around.
I agree. I
think they'll do well. Now, finally, our last team.
Lastly, let's take a look at the Kiwi, bro. Wellington Phoenix.
Yeah,
Mate,
big
this is
signings.
a big season as well. Big season coming up
They
for
could go
Wellington.
under.
They are very at risk of going under, as we know, as we heard from Stephen Taylor earlier on in the year, that if this season doesn't go according to plan, according to the
It
script,
might not be a next season.
that's right. And we need this team to stay up, mate, for
It's going to
Australian
be
football.
very, very interesting to see what happens. They got the premier, the runners up from last season, Newcastle, in their first match.
Yeah, that's right. It's a tough.
Tough. And,
It's winnable.
well, as we said just before when we were looking at Newcastle, they haven't really strengthened.
I know, so they need these 3 points.
and which Wellington have. They've brought in Stephen Taylor, right, from Peterborough.
yeah.
All that experience he has in the Premier League, facing all those top flight players.
It'll help him.
Playing
It'll
in the
help
Europa
him.
League.
He will be a leader as well with Durante in defence.
All right, Mitch Nichols as well coming in.
Yeah, they've got I can't pronounce his name, Kopsianki from Legia Warsaw on loan. He looks like a real solid midfielder. When we saw him that night down at Bentley,
Yeah,
he
definitely.
played very well. And you've got Sosa Pena from Almeria coming in as well, who's a bit of a
extra
unknown.
quality there.
Yeah,
And Philip Couto as well.
yeah, from Roger JC. So look, they've got European campaigners again, which is good because they're in the echelon with the top teams who have signed a lot of these players. But they've lost McGlinchey, Riddington and Lucic. I'm not sure how it's going to go, to be honest. Or do you think, what do you think, Nick? Do you think Mark Rudan can turn it around for them? Do you think they can have a good season? Because if they don't, they're going to fold.
I think Ruden's A League chance has finally come after a long coaching apprenticeship, really, in the NPL. And he really does have a big job in front of him, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree totally.
The Phoenix have the weakest squad in the competition on paper.
Yep.
And as a club, they seem to be procrastinating really on death row. Really, Rudin and, former Premier League star Stephen Taylor, right,
yeah.
really need to, bring this team together and they need to build something.
Can I just ask you something? Do you think that losing Wellington is a big loss for the A League? Do you think if it happens, we're stuffed?
Well, not really.
I think we are. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because our league can appeal to New Zealand still. If you're a young New Zealand kid, that lives over there growing up and you want to follow the best, the league, well, what team do you follow? You want to follow Wellington.
Yeah. I think there needs to be another New Zealand team.
I agree with that.
Auckland FC.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think if we lose Wellington, it's a step backwards. The FFA has to do everything in their power to make sure.
All Whites aren't, pushovers.
No, they're good.
I mean?
And New Zealand do have a good batch of players. Look at Costa Barbarouses, and Durante,
right?
Schmaltz as well. They've had over the years. Glenn Moss, the list goes on. There's
well, they pushed in the World Cups. Made it out of the group.
Mate, they drew to Italy in 2010. Let's not forget that.
So they're a footballing nation.
That's
and
right.
To lose a team is not going to be good. So I really hope
they can make the
something.
finals.
I hope there can be an expansion club there as well.
Yes, I agree.
So they can have a rivalry because who do they really have a rivalry with?
Yeah, that's right. It'll be great to see.
Something for the fans in New Zealand.
That's right.
Definitely. But, that's all 10 teams.
That's all the previews done for all the clubs.
The top 6 out of those 10 will make the finals, as always.
So let's go through our tips, Nick.
Yeah, so, Stefan, let's do it. Who do you have as finishing top as the Premier?
So for me, first position goes to Melbourne City.
Okay.
By a country mile. I think Melbourne City will absolutely dominate this season.
Fair enough. I got Victory at number 1.
Ooh, wow.
So we'll see. They play each other
this Saturday night.
Saturday, right. Second, who's in second place?
For me, it's Perth, second.
Yeah, same as me.
Oh, fantastic.
I got Perth Glory there.
Yep, there you go. For me, third will go to Melbourne Victory.
Third?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big call.
Yep.
I got Sydney there.
For third?
Yep, Sydney for third.
That's decent.
I had him really at fifth, but I'll bump him up a bit.
That's it.
Third. After
seeing that,
after really thinking about it,
yeah,
Sydney looks scary. Fourth,
I've got Western Sydney for fourth.
Western Sydney Wanderers. I've got Melbourne City there.
Okay, yeah,
fair enough.
Yep.
Fifth, who do you got?
Central Coast Mariners.
CCM.
Yeah, I reckon they'll make it.
I've got Newcastle there.
Okay.
I think they can still.
Wow.
They'll finish in the top 6.
That's
mate.
shocking.
They made it there for a reason. That you don't make it there on luck. You got Daniel Georgievski. running that back line.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I'm not too sure.
Well, oh, you don't think so? Okay.
I'm not too sure.
He's gonna try his heart out, mate. I'll tell you. That. But who do you got as number 6?
For me, number 6, who will scrape it in, I think it'll be between Sydney and Wellington, but I'll say Sydney.
Really?
But I really hope that Wellington make it because I think Sydney's just on paper it'll look good. To be honest, I think Corica won't handle it.
I've got Central Coast there.
Okay.
I think that their quality signings, maybe even Bolt, will get them into the finals. Finally,
there you go.
After 4 fails.
So who have you got missing out?
So for me, missing out is Brisbane.
Yep.
I got them finishing 7th.
Yeah.
I've got Wellington finishing 8th.
Yep.
Western Sydney.
Yep.
Finishing 9th.
Wow.
I think they're going to have a horrific season.
Wow.
New coach.
So then who have you got last?
And last I've got, the, what do we call them? The skid marks.
Adelaide. Oh, no.
Adelaide all for themselves united.
Well, look, I've got Wellington, Adelaide, Brisbane and Newcastle Jets to finish 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th respectively. Okay. I don't think those teams will make it.
So really they're pretty similar.
Our lists are very similar. I mean, I've got Western Sydney and Central Coast in for the finals. Instead, you've got Newcastle and Sydney in. They're the only differences.
We'll see how we go. We're going to look at this.
We're going to look at this at the end of the season and see
we'll look at it throughout and see who's right.
Yeah, that's right.
We've still got Arsenal to win the Premier League.
Hey, who knows with that? Who knows what will happen? It's football, Nick.
But, so that's been the whole preview of the A League.
Yeah.
So let's look at some games coming up this week.
Yeah, some heavy clashes.
Big games in the Premier League. We've got Chelsea versus Manchester United Saturday night.
What's your tip?
United, mate. We're coming out strong.
I'll
after
go for
the display
Chelsea.
Against Newcastle.
Chelsea for me, easily.
You got Watford and Wolves as well, the 2 overachievers.
Please. 2 easy beats.
In the Spanish league, we've got Barcelona and Sevilla.
Yeah.
Can Sevilla stay top?
No way. Barca will hammer them.
You reckon?
Yeah, Barcelona will hammer them.
And we've got the Milan derby in the Serie A.
Yeah, it's not going to be a great affair. I think it'll be a draw.
You think it'll be a draw?
Yeah.
But our game of the week next week.
Yeah.
Drum roll. Melbourne City versus Melbourne Victory, the Melbourne derby.
Yeah, what
Has
a game.
To be the game of the week.
The City's come to life this week.
Mate, what a night of football it's going to be on Saturday.
I know, Saturday night.
7:50, you've got Melbourne City versus Melbourne Victory. Then at 10:30, you've got the Chelsea versus Man United match.
Who's going out? No one's going out Saturday night.
I'm definitely will be watching both games.
Yes, I agree.
But, who do you think wins that? Who takes home the chocolates? You'll say City, right? Because you got them first.
I think, look, it's not to be a buzzkill or anything, but I just think Melbourne City have flown under the radar tremendously, and I think they're going to come out and knock Victory for 6.
We'll see. What if Hunter comes out and scores a hat-trick?
Won't happen.
We'll see. Okay.
Won't happen.
And just quickly before we sign off, let's talk about that giveaway that we mentioned at the start of the show.
Yes. The giveaway, the A-League Grand Final giveaway.
Yes. So why is it called the A-League Grand Final giveaway, Stefan?
Well, calm down, Nick. You're going to be rocking off your chair.
I'm on the edge of my seat. Let's do this.
We have a signed pair of boots from the Newcastle Jets, which was donated by Daniel Georgievski, the Macedonian marvel, mate.
Yeah, so the first half of the A-League Grand Finals.
Yep. And then we've got the Hyundai A League Championship winning cap, which was signed by the winners, the Melbourne Victory, and donated by Carl Valeri.
So the whole team has signed it?
Yes, the whole team.
Wow, so both championship finalists.
Champions and runners-up, both signed items. Yeah, ridiculous.
What an epic giveaway. So just stay tuned this week on Instagram and Facebook. We'll put up the details, and just follow all the instructions and you could be in for a chance to win.
And that's all for today, folks. As usual, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube and iTunes, all at Coach Killers Podcast.
And also, when you're reversing out of your driveway on your way to work or to the shops or whatever, don't forget, look both ways. Just to make sure little children aren't around.
Yes.
And also, don't forget to put the Coach Killers Podcast on the radio.
That's right. It'll help you focus.
Pump it, mate. Turn it up. Turn it up. But as always, you've all been great, and we've been the Coach Killers Podcast.
Fornaroli for the double.